Hey, welcome to 3-in-1 and our midweek worship. Over the last 7 weeks on Sundays, we have been focusing on moving from membership to discipleship. And part of that is on Tuesday nights, we have begun a session on how to pray. And it's a book that Pastor Jeff has been leading us through and is. So we're going to begin focusing each night for the next several weeks on how we can now use our discipleship, how we can now put it into action, especially through prayer. You notice if you read in the Bible, there was never, ever a major event that was not preceded by hours, days, weeks of prayer. I think the church may have lost some of that idea. Some of that idea that we come in with great ideas and wonder why they don't work because we never asked God if they were ideas that God wanted. For tonight, we're going to go to the most popular prayer known, and that is what we call the Lord's Prayer, or some of our brothers and sisters call the Our Father. And if we do that, then we are going to be in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9 to 13. This is just part of it. This, then, is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us, said today, our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses or debts, as we have forgiven our debtors or trespassers. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Now see, this whole idea of the Lord's Prayer, some of us, we got into years ago that you had to say the Lord's Prayer. Like somehow or another, God was going to be unhappy if we made up our own prayer. So it became very rote. However, it is a model. As a model, the Lord's Prayer serves as the perfect prototype. It is condensed. It's liturgical, it's poetic, and it's clearly intended to be designed to be read frequently. So it teaches us what to pray. Then it teaches us sort of as a map. The Lord's Prayer guides us as we express things on our hearts. Each line can be applied to, and believe it or not, can be expanded to fit you. Maybe instead of just forgive your trespasses, maybe in your case, you're going to directly name the concerns. And then it can begin expanded a personal conversation with God. It teaches us not only what to pray, but how to pray. So here's some ideas. Back originally, all the rabbis back in Jesus' day often would be in groups, and they would pray together or had their own unique prayer. In fact, when the disciples asked Jesus to teach them this prayer, they followed it up when they said, and do it just as John taught his disciples. See, because John had given a special prayer to his disciples. See, they weren't just asking for Jesus to give them a few good prayer tips. They were also saying, we need a statement of faith. Something we've just started here at 3-in-1 and making sure that at least once a month, if not more often, we're going to start reading a statement of faith every Sunday. So this is what they were asking for. And they said this makes the Lord's Prayer the earliest Christian creed. So it's not only prayer, but it's a statement of what they actually they believed in. So that gave them something that anchored them, and they understood. So then this understanding of the Lord's Prayer gets put into a regular routine, and that's something we can do. If you're uncomfortable coming up with your own prayer, maybe you have a day where you just don't have a prayer in your head, but you take your quiet time and you take the time to start reading or reciting the Lord's Prayer. See, this idea that it interrupts the busyness of the day and allows us to focus for just a minute. You see, would have been called a didash, which is what was written in the first century, the AD, and instructs the Christians to pray the Lord's Prayer 3 times a day. 3 times a day, which was reflective of the fixed times that the Jews went to the temple. At 9 a.m., at midday, and around 6 was prayer time in the temple. So then, no temple, you are out on your own praying 3 times a day. I'm going to tell you what, folks, I think Christianity would change the world if Christians began praying 3 times a day. Now, it could become mechanical, and it shouldn't. It may be something that you simply say when you're having a bad day and can't come up with your own words, as I already said. But the Holy Spirit will use that prayer and use that time to change you and change your life. The Lord's Prayer is a map. It teaches you how to pray and what to pray. And if it's prayed each time, then the Lord's Prayer becomes an invitation for you to open up and share your own thoughts. Next week, we'll talk another step about how to use prayer and prayer as an outgrowth of our discipleship. I hope to see you in person at any 3 of our churches. Join us online at www.3in1fellowship.org. See you next time.